All right, this is Adrian Conway here with brUTE Strength Training, and 15.2 is 14.2 repeated. So I hope you guys did well last year on this workout. Overhead squats and chest to bar pull-ups. As a repeat workout, we know a few things. One, how this felt if you did it before, and also the errors that we made the first time through. We've done a lot of these movements in recent programming. We do the skill work for the chest to bar pull-ups. You guys should feel very confident in your capacity and where it's at there for now. This is gonna be where we wanna really call on the efficiency and the effortlessness of hopefully all the practice that you've been putting in over the last few months or however long you've been with us. In detail, the workout is gonna be laid out here on the whiteboard behind me. It starts with 2 rounds of 10 overhead squats, 10 chest to bar pull-ups. 2 rounds and you got a 3-minute window to complete that work. Obviously you get to utilize the rest of the time for rest, and then you repeat that but with an increased volume of work to be done. So you graduate on to 12 overhead squats, 12 chest to bar pull-ups, 2 rounds, and also a 3-minute window that will take us then to 6 minutes. You rest wherever you're allotted that time, and then again we increase the rounds, etc., etc. For many of our elite athletes, guys, the workout's really gonna start to get nasty and really begin down here in the round of 16 and 18. We're gonna see our upper tier athletes move onward into the round of 20, and that's really where we're gonna separate the men from the boys, so to speak, in our sport. So what we really wanna do is consider a few things when we talk about warming up for this workout, how we wanna approach it. I would not change anything out of your normal workout. So that means if you usually hop on the rower for a few minutes to create some blood flow, do that. If you traditionally follow the warm-ups that we're sending out to you guys, do that. Do your thing. Keep things consistent. Don't step out of your normal comfort zone. Now, some things to consider to add on to or to take special, I guess, care of in preparation for the overhead squats and the pull-ups in this workout are going to be to make sure that you really spend some time mobilizing your thoracic spine and your upper back, right? Get on a foam roller, roll it out, get a lacrosse ball, get in between your shoulder blades and your shoulders, up underneath your armpits particularly, free up that shoulder mobility. Also, you guys should want to spend some time mobilizing your ankles and knees. Anyone that struggles specifically with mobility of the lower body, take care of that. It's going to allow you primarily to be able to keep your torso more upright through the range of motion in the overhead squat, which is going to save you a lot of time and energy going forward. The more closed we can keep the shoulder joint throughout the overhead squats as opposed to bending forward and opening it, it's going to save you a lot of energy and time as you complete the reps and the rounds. The next thing is gear for this workout. You know, as a part of our strength program and all the conditioning that we do, we don't like athletes to necessarily hide behind gear. So we try not to promote a lot of using wrist wraps all the time, or knee wraps, or knee sleeves, or always using Ollie shoes. But for this workout, do that, right? There's a difference between training and also a difference between competing, and today we're competing. This is game day. So I want you to use everything that's gonna allow you to excel. So that could mean wear your wrist wraps, that could mean throw on your knee sleeves, and for the majority of you, that's gonna mean throw on your lifters or your Ollie shoes. So have all that stuff ready to rock and roll. Another thing to consider is going to be your grip. This goes for both on the barbell and on the rig. Our grip on the barbell, if the overhead squats at some point become really challenging for you, you want to consider maybe moving your hands into a more narrow grip. For myself in an overhead squat workout, that means I typically move my grip in about 2 fingers width inside of where I traditionally snatch. It feels like it locks my shoulders into a really secure position, allows me to move through the overhead squats a little bit more smooth, and there's a little bit of less work taking place in my shoulder for stability. So if you guys can, try to inch in that grip just a touch, especially as the workout goes on and we get deeper and deeper into the higher amount of reps that are taking place. Another thing is on the rig itself for a pull-ups. I say keep your grip about the same width as it is traditionally, but maybe consider if you're a normal thumb under wrapper to maybe put your thumbs on top of the bar. If you've never experimented with this, I definitely wouldn't say just throw it out there on a game day type situation, but if you have any experience, you know that it can kind of alleviate some of that grip tension or fatigue that's going to be taking place while we're up there on that pull-up bar. So consider definitely laying your thumbs over top for this workout. Try to minimize the amount of rubbing or friction that take place. This is going to be a big one that we're going to be seeing a lot of pictures being posted, like, check out my bloody calluses, oh, I'm so intense, and like that's obviously what we want to avoid. In the same token, last year I wore gymnastics wraps for this workout. I ended up doing it on a rig that was powder coated, and due to the thickness of my wraps and the powder coated on the bar, my grip really got smoked really early. So if you guys are going to do any kind of hand care or hand covering, be sure that it's not too thick. Maybe consider jimmy rigging like some tape for yourself. I think that could probably be one of the best ways to go forward with this workout. The less distance between your skin and that bar, the longer your grip is going to last. But also, we want you to be able to last with fresh skin and keep it all intact as much as possible throughout the workout as well. So it's kind of something where you got to really consider where the juice is worth the squeeze in regards to the hand covering. So make sure you guys consider that. Obviously, ask away if you have questions in regards to that or what you should use. When it comes to the overhead squats in this workout, we really want to emphasize the speed of them. Now, we're always going to talk about quality, and hopefully you guys have a judge right there beside you, whether you're filming your workout or not. But give a slight pause at the top where you open the hip, but we want to make sure that there's consistent speed taking place anytime that bar is over your head. Taking a break up here, taking a couple breaths is really going to cost you valuable time in the workout, and then also it's just time under tension under the load. Another thing with the overhead squat is going to be making sure that as you guys have that bar, we want to make sure that it's not coming forward in front of you. So a lot of times we see people go through really fast and they're up and down, they're getting good reps and it's all good, but they start floating forward into their toes. Now their shoulders are going to work extra hard to kind of stabilize and balance that load over your head. So if I could throw a cue out to you throughout the whole workout, think heels all day. Heels, heels, heels. So stay back in those heels, move smoothly, slight pause at the top of every overhead squat to emphasize the open hip. The next thing is going to be in regards to the pull-ups. Guys, use your hips. Hips all day, right? The efficiency piece I touched on earlier. I know you guys have been practicing these things. Make Coach Nick out there really proud, right? His heart should smile really big when he watches the video. Thrust those hips open as much as you can. Make everything look effortless, right? The more calm, cool, and collected you can be when you're hanging from that bar, the less energy you're going to use. And I guarantee you the longer you will last throughout the workout. And then the next thing is, don't get caught up in this being an unbroken race to the finish. In fact, most of you guys that really go far into this workout will find that breaking the sets up early are more advantageous than waiting until you reach failure, because you know that once chest to bar pull-ups are gone, they're gone. See you later. So what we encourage is that most of y'all are going to go unbroken for the first 2 rounds on the overhead squats, but for the chest to bar pull-ups, maybe on this first round of 10 here, you go 5 and 5. Or you go ahead and open up with a set of 10, and then on that second round you go 5 and 5, and that should give you plenty of time to get back to that bar and have rest in order to get ready for the next round to begin. So the real goal here is to keep your heart rate down and constantly be fighting and battling to control that. The deeper we get into the rounds, like the round of 12, most of you guys will probably be able to go 6 and 6 and feel good about it. Some of you may need to go 4, 4, and 4. But consider breaking the work into thirds or halves throughout the majority of the sets, even as we advance forward onto 14 and then even into 16 and 18. Note that the girls did a great job of this in the workout. They broke them up, but also they kept their rests really short, right? So you notice that when they dropped down, they weren't just hanging out, shaking their arms out and taking a long time under the bar. We want to actually let that rest be very momentary and then hop back up. If over time you drop off the bar in a set of breaking reps into sets of 4 on the round of 16, that's 4 extra pull-ups where you're receiving no eccentric load into those lats, into those biceps, and over time that adds up to be quite a lot of rest. So look for any way to kind of keep your grip as fresh as possible. Again, a few key points I want you to kind of reflect on if I could summarize this thing up. Keep your warm-up normal. Don't break tradition. Mobilize that thoracic spine and upper back. Hit your pecs, hit your lats, hit your ankles and knees. Consider your grip on the overhead squats. If you can, bring it in just a touch. A little bit of narrow grip goes a long way with keeping that bar exactly where you want it to. On the pull-up rig, thumb over top for most of you guys would be advantageous. If you've never done it, don't start it today. You don't want to kind of try a new trick on game day. That's usually a bad way to go, but if you have experience with it, try to utilize it. And then also break up the reps. Stay strong on the overhead squat for the first 2 rounds. If you need to rest there, we want to keep it to a minimum because we really want to give ourselves time on this workout. In summary, I think you're going to see some of the top scores in the world go to the athletes that are the very best and the most elite on the rig, and that's going to be on the chest to bar pull-ups. All in all, 15.2 is a chest to bar pull-up workout.